Our reading of today is coming from the book, Live Your Dream in 7 Days. We're starting from page 162. From page 162, just the last session of No One Does It Alone.
Yes.
Sawa.
Shami is reading.
Caroline, kindly.
One of the best readers I ever met.
OPP.
No, it's true. It's true.
All right, thank you. Thank you. I'm reading from page 62. No one does it alone. You're going to require a bit of help along the way. Never be too ashamed or too proud to ask for help. It works. Put it in your mind that most of the troubles you're going to face are not new at all. Others have faced them, including myself, and written about them, or at least are willing to help if asked. Do not let pride sabotage your progress. Notice that ego causes downfall. It has been said that pride comes before a fall. God himself hates the proud. So stay humble, authentic, and open-minded. Do not assume that you know it all. You will never ever know it all in the school of success. Learning is continuous. No one has known it all. Everyone keeps learning. Everyone is a student, and a student is also a teacher, teaching those on the journey with him and sharing experiences with the older and the younger. Why? Because experiences are usually very unique. One thing I learned, unlike what is commonly imagined, successful people are willing to share information and the knowledge that has helped them to become whom they are. You will find this to be true. They are not jealous. They are not envious. As I once discovered, it is good to take successful people for dinner. Jim Rohn put it nicely in his classic audio called Personal Growth. He said, poor people ought to take rich people for dinner. But guess what? Poor people keep thinking that the rich are already rich and thus should be the ones to buy dinner. This is wrong. Jim was right. It is also good to know that the more people become successful, the more open they are to listening and learning. They hardly despise ideas or people. They give audience irrespective of who is speaking. One who is really successful is not overcome by pride, but full of respect and humility. Those who display arrogance are not really confident about themselves and are not as successful as they would want you to believe. The arrogance is sugarcoating and show off. For this reason, if I see a person driving a more luxurious vehicle than mine, I give them respect and expect them to be more respectful and responsible. If I see someone with more money than me, I know he or she has grown more than me in leadership and expect them to be full of decorum that comes with their stature. That is the way life is. If you meet the arrogant type, they are the wrong people who, in most cases, got the wealth they seem to have inappropriately or inherited it, and usually will not stay at the top. The reason is simple. They have not learned how to climb to the top. They do not know how to stay at the top either. They have bypassed the discipline. Let me be clear here. Success is not necessarily in terms of monetary wealth, but in many other areas too. Someone can be successful even if he's not blessed with material possessions. If he is happy with his life and is living his life's purpose, he is by all means very successful. Dreams are different. At all economic levels, one can live his dreams. Do not belittle anyone's dream. What may be important to me may not be to you. What may be a lot to me may be little to another. One time I made a statement I still believe in. The level of our achievements shall only be limited by the size of our dreams. It is true. There are people I call successful failures. These are people who acknowledge where, why, and how they failed and are willing to share their experiences. Old people are very good at this, looking back into their lives and sharing their bad decisions as a warning. Do not despise them. Listen and learn from them too. Ask them questions and make your own conclusions. When I was preparing for my final examinations in secondary school, working to attain university grades, I asked my friends who are preparing for the same exams for the second attempt, having failed in their first attempt. They told me what, in their opinion, caused them to fail, and together we were able to work and pass very well because of the insights gained from their bad experience. I really do believe that wise people can learn from anyone, anywhere. One reason is that they are blessed with an excellent attitude. And whenever I give talks about listening, I mention these too, that even when a mentally challenged person is talking and you listen keenly, some of his words will make sense for you, not necessarily for him, and you may pick some fundamental life truth from that heap of rubbish that comes from his mouth. Now that is very important for you, the listening skill. Practice listening or you will not be able to learn. And do not have a preconceived opinion or a certain answer that you expect. Have an open mind and listen keenly, then evaluate. Let whatever you pick be the subject of your own conclusion. No one can bulldoze you into doing exactly what they say, including me in this book. Chew the ideas and act on them as you may deem fit. Therefore, if you find a successful person, more so someone living the kind of life you want, doing the kind of things you would want to do, then make friends with him or her and ask questions. Ask for help. Liz Brown says, ask for help, not because you are weak, but because you want to remain strong. Ask for help and do not stop until you find it. I love that. When his own, or whether his own or he borrowed it from elsewhere is immaterial. And your help can come from very unfamiliar sources. So do not look down on anyone. Speaking out and sharing will help. Some of the best solutions of life have come from very unexpected sources. I am reminded of an engineering idea that came from a cleaner when she was being pushed to give room for the engineers to dig the floor to extend the elevators, and she asked them, concerned only about her clean piece of work and possible horrible debris, why then could not do it outside, and that became the advent of making lifts protruding from outside. You see, look for someone or people who can help you along the way as a mentor or mentors. It will make the journey more manageable. Two are better than one. A cord made of 3 strands is definitely stronger, and much of help you are looking for can also be found in books, seminars, videos, and other sources. Indeed, if you seek, you will find. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol, for that reading. Asante sana. I have 2 stories that I want to share. First of all, why zebras walk in herds. The reason why zebras walk together is because when they walk together, the lines that they have, is it lines or what is it? What do we call it? Well, I'll just call it the lines.
They're called stripes.
I know that's not the word to use, but the lines that they have are become one continuous line, and they camouflage against the thank you, the stripes. Thank you so much, Carol. The stripes that they have are elongated, and then they camouflage. So when a lion is looking at a zebra that is alone, he will know this is a zebra, and the zebra starts from here. I can attack from here, and it will die. But then when they are together, the stripes become like one long stripe. So when the lion wants to attack, he doesn't know where to start. He doesn't know this is where one zebra is, this is where the other zebra is. But now you see, when this zebra is alone, because he is a lone ranger or she is a lone ranger, she becomes an easy prey to the lion. That is the first story. The second story is funny. There's a day I was reading something on Facebook, and someone had written this piece, and they had said that they were on Mombasa Road, and then a Land Cruiser hit Mercedes. And what happened is that the owners came out, exchanged their cards, and the owner of the Land Cruiser was that, give me a call, I'll send you to my mechanic. And the owner of the Mercedes was like, that's fine. Why? Because they're busy people. You get me? So I say that because in the book, Obipi has written and said that when he sees someone who has a car that is more powerful or more machine than his, he respects them. And then someone down at that post said, wow, if these were two Probox people, a Probox and a Subaru, my goodness, you would have had a lot. Anyway, so I want to hear, what have you guys picked out from today's reading? No hard feelings to the Subaru and the Probox people, no hard feelings. So what have you guys picked from today's reading?
So thank you. I'd like to share also stories. One is I've gotten a lot of help along the way, and I've learned that it's always important to be open to help. For me to finish my schooling in secondary school, where I was stuck, not really stuck, because it became, I finished much earlier than I had expected. I thought it would even take 10 years, but I still finished within 4 years, despite losing 2 years. It was because of one of my teachers, the deputy head teacher in that school. When he asked me in Form 1, third term, whether I will be in Form 2, and I said yes, and he asked me, how will you go to Form 2? And I told him, if I pass. That is the time he started to focus on me and help me to stay in school. He told me, I'm giving you these 2 weeks, and I'd like to see you pass your exam and move to Form 2. And indeed, I was in school for 2 weeks, and I passed well. And thereafter, he kept trying to help me stay in school in Form 2. When he left, when he was transferred to a different school as a head teacher, which was far from where I was, it was like the end of the story for me. So I took a whole year outside Form 3. But then he called me a year later to go and study in his school, which was a new school. It was the first time they were going to sit exams. And he told me, go to Form 3. I said, no, let me just go do Form 4. I had not read anything for over a year, by the way. I was just out. He told me, no, you see, you didn't do Form 3. But I thought to myself, if I don't take this opportunity, I may not know, maybe he'll be transferred again. So he allowed me, but he told me, if you fail, you will come to repeat. And to me, all I needed was an environment where I could read and do my exam. And I did exactly that with a lot of trouble, with a lot of hard work and God's help. I managed, together with some friends of mine, to pass. We didn't have teachers. Actually, there were only 2 teachers that were posted by the TSC. That was the head teacher himself plus the deputy. The rest were people picked from around. Yeah, others helping, others students from the university. So that teacher influenced a lot in me, and even my leadership in which grew a lot in secondary school, was hinged on him. I still owe him a lot. The next person was my uncle. When I went back to now Form 4, he agreed to keep me, to stay with me. I was a vagabond. I didn't have any home. So he told me, I'm going to give you accommodation for 1 year as you finish this school. Afterwards, end of story. And that was very good. And I learned also a lot from him. And giving me that deadline kept my mind open. And I did my best. But we are still with him to date, though I built my home. But he's still my pillar. Another very central person in my life who helped me is a cousin of mine. When I came to Nairobi, I did not know anybody. The guy I was, and we read that here at some point, the guy the guy I thought was going to accommodate me, who even gave me his number, didn't pick a call. Those days, mobile phones were just coming up. I didn't have any, and they were costly. So I used a booth, at least for the first time. I'd never used a booth, by the way. He didn't pick a call, he's never picked it. And this cousin of mine, I did not know him. They were older people who had been in Nairobi long before I could even know him. But when I was coming to Nairobi, I passed by their home. You know, back in the village, people just cross homes. You don't really need to stick to the road. And his dad gave me his number. Wait, you're going to Nairobi, pick this number. If you reach there, call Musa. And that's the way I got help. When I reached and I called him as the last resort, he came for me. I did not know him. And we had to identify each other. I told him, in Ukwala. There is a supermarket here called Ukwala. I did not even know that there were many of them, but he figured out where I could be. So he passed. I was with another friend, said, I think this guy is the one. He's looking for somebody. So when we talked, he accommodated me, and he's been my pillar in Nairobi all this while. There is no any other place I know, you see. So people always can get help. Now, and through that, today I am whom I am, courtesy of the help that I've been able to get from key people. Have been those ones, but then there have been enough others. So we must not be ashamed of seeking help. And listening and filtering, listening and evaluating. You do not need to pick everything that you hear. You listen and then you evaluate. Will this one work? We do our own critical thinking. Problem is, most of us, if you pick something more, so if you get this connotation of this is an expert, you feel like whatever they say is always gospel. It's never like that. Just listen to your heart. When you've listened to something, when you've listened to somebody and you interrogate in your heart will tell you whether that is the right thing to do or that is not the right thing to do. But you don't need to differ with people. I've listened to people throughout my life. There are people who've misguided me as well, but I didn't follow them. I listen, but then my heart tells me not to do that. So I just agree, but I don't act on it because I was empowered by the same uncle of mine. You can be advised. Somebody can advise for you, can advise you, but cannot decide for you. You must make your own decision, which I found very profound. So I've learned to also listen to old people over the years. And I like more so when people share their failures. People who share their successes only, it becomes very difficult to learn from them as opposed to people who share how they failed. So it's very critical to also get stories from people who tried and failed, people who, and they will be able to share with you. how or what made them fail. And I can stop there for now. Thank you, moderator.
You are so welcome. I think OPP, even as I listen to you, I'm just thinking of that other saying that people used to say that it takes a village to raise a kid. And I think it is something that nowadays is not there. If a neighbor sees someone's child behaving in a manner that is not pleasing, they're like, that one, I can't say anything, like to an extent where they cannot even come and tell their parents that I saw your son or I saw your daughter doing this and this and this, because the mother or the father is definitely going to be on the side of the child, and they will think that the neighbor they'll think that the neighbor hates their child. They think that the neighbor is intruding in the affairs of their family. But I think if we went back there where a neighbor can see you making a mistake and they will either give you a kiboko or they will come and tell your parents, and they know if they tell your parents are going to discipline you. And personally for you, you're like, I'd rather my neighbor disciplines me than he comes home to tell my parents that I've done this and this and this, because that means both my neighbor and my parents are going to discipline me. So guys, what is your other takeout? What is your takeout? I've heard from OPP. Someone else?
Sorry. First of all, I want to kindly thank everyone, and mostly the lady who read the reading today. She's such a good reader, and OPP was actually right. She just has the qualities of reading a presidential speech. I could say that. And I will share a little bit about what my take today is. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can.
Because sometimes the distance makes noises in the background. My take today is you need that help along the way from every person, big, small, tall, large, educated, not educated, your friends, your enemies, because all these people, they say when you're planning to have something, to do something, to live that purposeful life and live that dream, the universe congregates around you to be able to bring your dream into fruition. So with this life, for you to be able to get in your dream, as much as you want, as much as you think about it, you really have to tolerate even getting information from some people you don't necessarily like. So there are 6 people in our lives. This is my lesson now. I learned who I need around me to be able to succeed. Every time I have to keep myself reminded, these 6 people have to live in my life. It doesn't matter if you do not receive the best academic training from a top university. A person with less education who has fully developed good relationship skills can be far more successful than a person with an impressive education who falls short of this. Nothing incredible is accomplished alone. You always need others to help you, and you need to help others. With the right team around you, you can form a nice web of connections to make the seemingly impossible practically inevitable. So the first person whom you have to have around your life is the instigator. That is someone who pushes you, who makes you think. A person who will motivate you to get up and go and try and make things happen. This is the person who gives you hope, which makes things happen. And they will tell you, you can do it. An instigator is a strong believer in you. He encourages you to excel at what you do, keeps you cool in tense situations, and helps you focus on the positive. You want to keep this person energized and, enthusiastic. And this person is your voice of inspiration. They will inspire you to get on with it. That's the first person you need around your life. So look in your circle and see who this person is. The second person who you will need their help, believe it or not, is called a cheerleader. Like when you're watching a football match, like you got those people who are cheering, like the cheering squad. Or if you're running a marathon, Kipchoge needs these people all along, whether he's in his country or abroad. You need that cheerleader. This is a person is your huge fan, a strong supporter, and a rabid evangelist for you and your work. This person makes you happy, gives you a reason to smile, is intelligent, and is nice to know. A cheerleader recognizes and appreciates you for your achievements, and they help you to know the opportunities there are for growth. They tell you exactly what he or she wants you to do and gives multiple reasons for what he's doing or what you want to do. And they work to make this person rewarded, to keep them engaged. This is the voice of motivation. Keep going, keep going, keep going. So they keep motivating you. And then the third person you need is the doubter. You remember doubting Thomas? Jesus needed this person, I tell you. This is the devil's advocate who asks hard questions and sees problems before even they arise. You need this person's perspective. Call him or her a think tank who comes up with new ideas, will critically analyze them by looking at maybe the positive, the negative implications on you or on your business that you're trying to do, and finally helps you arrive at the best decision. They're looking out for you and want you to be as safe and successful. That person is always called the voice of reason. And then the fourth person you need, the friend around you, is the taskmaster. This is the loud and belligerent voice that, demands you get things done. This person is the steward of momentum, making sure deadlines are met, goals, calling you saying, oh, have you finished that assignment? Have you submitted? This is that person who wants to see nothing but results from you. Occasionally, they will help you focus on what gives results to you, your career, or even your business. And they ensure that you meet your plans and finish up your projects in time with a focus on your growth and expansion. That person is called the voice of progress. Then the fifth person, this one you will definitely need, is called the connector. This person can help you find new avenues and new allies. Those people who are always knowing somebody who knows somebody. So that person breaks through roadblocks into finding ways to make magic happen. A connector will help you attend networking events, workshops, seminars. This is the person who gets you introduced to who is who in business circles, and they will share with you what you can do best. He or she invites you to meaningful social places, maybe even to play golf, to the Rotary clubs, to parties, or even to events when you're likely to get a good network of people who can do business with you. You need this person to reach people and places you can't. That is called the voice of cooperation and community. Then the last one you need around you is that person who is called the example. This is your mentor, your hero. This is the person who you seek to emulate, and this is your guiding entity, someone whose presence acts as a constant reminder that you too can do amazing things and you too can do all these good things. So the mentors are very experienced and probably have a sixth sense while arriving at a decision. So this person you can trust, you can connect with, and you're interested and in a willing way to help you. So those mentors you choose are people who will be honest with you, and they'll tell you the naked truth as it is actually, whether you like it or not. So you want to make this person proud. So this is the voice of authority. So search for and identify all the people in your life. Look at your circles and see who each person is, because you will need these people. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. That's my take today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Christine Miracle, for that. Asante sana. Like that one, I think that one, OPP, we have to direct that it needs a whole session of its own for more expansion and more meat to be added on it. Asante sana. Who else? And even as the next person is just going to tell us their takeout, there's something that OPP said, and then I just remembered something that I read somewhere, that let all people teach you, but don't learn from everyone. So people can teach you, but do not learn from everyone. Don't like do what everyone is doing. Be very selective. And Christine, kindly just tell us what the last voice is. Jen M wants to.
So the last person, the sixth person I said is called the example.
Okay, the example. Who is the mentor?
That is your mentor, your hero, the person whom you look at and you want to emulate. Like we are in this group and we all look towards a mentor. We have people like Coach Melvin, people like, everybody has a mentor whom you look to get this guidance, and somebody who will probably remind you constantly that this is the way things want things to work. Somebody who is kind of experienced even in the field that you're trying to venture into, with that sixth sense of arriving at that decision. Someone you trust and you can connect with, and you're interested and is willing to help you. You know, you have to choose very carefully. So yeah, it's the example or your mentor. Thank you.
You see,
thank you so much.
Christine, I think the question was, these other ones, like the connector was the voice of cooperation and community. Then there was the voice of progress, the voice of reason. The question was, this other one, voice, what kind of voice is he or she?
Is the voice of true authority.
Good. That is all they wanted. Thank you.
Okay,
sorry.
Thank you. Someone else?
Okay, for me, this is Yudia.
Yes, Lydia. You have a beautiful
I think.
name.
Thank you. I think for me, I look at a different view in terms of how we raise our children. Yes, the neighbors are there, but we have to make it intentional to relate with them, because I don't expect my neighbors to come into helping me raise my children if I am not relating with them. So it starts from us, the parents, relating to the people we want to get involved in our children's life. And it's the same thing even at work. The people you relate to, the people who are in your life, the people you think, like now we're in a group, we have intentionally made a decision to be here every Monday to discuss and talk about things about our careers and about our lives. So that also goes to our children, that we make it intentional, get people, that groups or from church or wherever that we can relate with, and they are probably having common age with our children so that we can work together, and that brings a community. That's my thoughts. Thank you.
Asante sana. Who else?
I wanted to comment on the Thomases. I've always loved them in every team that I happen to be in or lead. And I've always put them in the group of the people who represent friction in a movement. Yeah, in physics, in science, we know that friction is very important because it stops you from sliding, from just going without any brakes. So they are like the brake pads. Otherwise, without them, you may not be able to figure out or to digest better an idea that you have. In one of my teams, when I was in the university, I called a group of them politicians, because they would come up with politics basically that do not enough of them may not make sense, but at least they will put you to task to be able to filter your idea and explain it better. And by the end of the day, they make you even understand your idea much better and become better at executing it, because they will ask those questions. What makes you believe? Things like that. Why not this? Why just this? And something like that. So they are very, very central in your progress. Another thing that Christine said is you will get help from very unfamiliar sources. And I've lived this particular truth, this particular reality. I've often said it, and I think it's also in the book, that when I was going for the first time to Mombasa, I didn't know what Mombasa is. In fact, in my mind, it was just like our little town in where I grew up in Kindu Bay, and maybe you could ask somebody. So I remember when I reached Kisumu, to the person who was to guide me, he was telling me, no, don't think that Mombasa is like Kindu Bay. You can ask somebody, do you know so and so? Where does he stay? So apparently, when I reached, the uncle of mine who was to pick me, he didn't pick me, and he was the person I was going to. He didn't pick me from the railway station. It would have been a big trouble for me, because I did not know anybody else. Now here is the other problem. I did not have any money at all. But what happened was that the person with whom I traveled, we just met in the train. We kept talking, and by the time we were alighting, we had gotten to know each other. He was way older than me. I don't know why he took interest in me. But then he told me, well, now that your uncle is not coming to pick you, maybe we can go with you, and then we will find out how we can find him. And sure enough, he helped me. We went with him. I had mentioned where I was going, Kongowea, and he was also going to the same place. So we went there, and apparently my uncle, who was previously alcoholic, was known by people who were brewing alcohol. And this guy was going to his sister, who, for whichever reason, happened to be selling alcohol. So there was a possibility of getting to know this uncle of mine. And sure enough, when we arrived, he asked the sister asked the guys there, and some of them knew him and knew where he was. So they just told me, you just take tea, rest, we will take you there. And they took me there. So you can always get, don't despise success. You just need to be open-minded enough, take chances. You can get help from very unfamiliar sources. It's possible. And she mentioned something which I love. The universe congregates around you to assist you. That is what in the Bible, it's also said that all things will work together to help you. All things will work together for your good. Whether they are natural things like wind, the rain, the thunderstorm, all things will work, because the universe, the whole creation, works to aid you. to be able to achieve that which is in your heart. And that includes the angels that God has put around the way. I do not want it to look like it's preaching, but there will always be people along the way to aid you as you move towards living your dream. Problem is, sometimes we can reject the help with our pride, with our attitude, and sometimes we don't even recognize them because we despise people. But believe me, you will get help even from very unfamiliar sources. The other thing I love saying is every person you see is a constituency. Every single person knows very many other people whom you don't know. And some of the people they know are very senior. You may think they are very small people, maybe just a gate man or a secretary or whatever. These people, you do not know whom they know. Yeah, we talk about that when we are discussing about customer service and even selling. Let's treat people with respect. We do not know where our help will come from. And it can come from very unfamiliar sources. Yeah, that's very, very important. Thank you.
Odhiambo Olale. Okay, Odhiambo Olale, you can go on.
I wanted to say is that thanks so much to Christine. She has really put everything in focus. Yeah. I'm thanking Christine for putting things in perspective, especially the 6 P's of the people who should be in our cycle. Those six P's also I find them relating to my my 6 P's that also help me find them helping me to do my work and my personal life more effectively and also in a way that I think can inspire others. The 6 P's are plan, pray, purpose, ponder, among others. But in relating to this, that story that was said earlier on, it also reminds me of a very good program that we need to be watching, those who watch TV. I think it's a CNN. CNN has a special report on Africa once, I think it's every Friday or Saturday. It's called Africa Change Makers. It highlights, it identifies individuals, entrepreneurs, business people, even chief executives who have made a mark and are making a mark. It's very interesting. It's a 30-minute program, but very illuminating. So in relation to the stories of some that are very inspirational, but by coincidence, I had a visitor in my house yesterday, and a cousin of my mom from Rusinga Island, and he's an Abasuba. You know, I hope you know about the Abasubas. Those are the people who a sub-tribe of the Baganda who fled to Kenya, and now they were assimilated to the Luos. But they've been fighting back. They want to get their full identity. He has a very interesting story. He started off as an entrepreneur stroke business person, traveling from Nairobi to Mombasa, Malindi, Watamu, Kwale. What was he going to do? To buy prawns. And why was he buying prawns? He was buying these prawns to come and sell to Nairobi people and the restaurants. And from that, he just decided that he was in love with the aviation industry. He raised some money, went to South Africa, studied the piloting, and despite the expense and all this, and of course the exams were tough, he made it. But it was not easy. He says that one time he had to spend the whole night studying and the following day to make sure he passes that exam, because the exam is one of those ones whereby, unlike they call it what, KCPE, all these are the exams. You do an exam and then they tell you wait for a month or so, or some few weeks. But theirs, it's automatic. You do it and the machine will tell you, because multiple choice, the machine will tell you within the next 5 minutes. You have passed or you have failed. But so because of that, he had failed 3 times. This time around, he worked so hard and he did it. And right now, cut a long story short, he's now been managed to make it to the Kenya Airways, and he's a pilot. And among the students whom he was holding their hands when they were struggling in South Africa, and even in Soroti in Uganda, was sons of some former presidents. One is South Tanzanian president, another one is South Sudanese president. So what is a lesson learned? That we should not limit ourselves. God has blessed us with life and opportunities. It is us who limit ourselves. So the moment we realize that potential and we see that we see that opportunity that we want to seize, we should go for it. In fact, for his story, or if I was writing a story in the newspaper, or even maybe for TV, it'd be not rags to riches, but from prawns seller to be a Kenya Airways pilot who flies all the way to West Africa and other parts of the world. Thank you very much.
You are welcome. Thank you, Olale. I think I just need to say something about what I say about baggage. And I feel in life that these people who are just dragging you behind. Yes, I don't refute the fact that there are those people who are looking up to us, maybe as their mentors or something, but you'll realize that there are those people who are just pushing you behind. They're not your mentors, they're not nothing about that, but you want to do something, some will tell you, oh, that one is like it's above your reach, don't do that. Someone tried that business and it failed and everything. So you realize that they are draining you emotionally, they are pulling you back. And personally, for me, I think it is very fine to let those people go. Just let them go, because they're draining you, they're making you slag behind, and they're not good for your well-being, they're not good for your progress. So who else? I think OPP, I feel like when you're writing this particular chapter, there was much more on your mind than what you have shared. So please just tell us what was really, really on your mind apart from that. And I think I would also want to know it from now, your business side and from your leadership side. What is it that you went through that make you write this particular script in this book, in your business side and in your leadership?
Yeah, that's quite a mouthful then. Thank you. I wanted to agree with you that in your life, you've got to identify people who drain you. What I've learned to do is to disagree with respect. One is to get too busy so that I don't give them time, my airtime, because there are people whom the moment you meet them, afterwards you have no energy. You see, they are energy drainers, and those are not the same as Thomases. They are not the doubters. They are just people who are generally negative. Yeah, that thing won't work. That thing, you see, like in my life when I was fishing, yes, and I tried to get fish to get school fees, I couldn't. So coming out, I told those guys, I'm going back to school. It seems like I won't get school fees here. And it's always good to monitor. You don't just persist, and things don't seem to be working. Yeah, I realized time was going. I need to go back and look for another way. And they told me, enough of them told me, no, nobody ever came here and left. No, you just sit here, yeah, and make a living. Yeah, but I didn't follow that. It's important to know that there are people who can drain you energy and you avoid them. And this includes WhatsApp groups. You see, there are those ones that I archive. For some reason, I don't like being seen to be exiting a WhatsApp group. Yes, I believe enough people know me, and when they see, for example, my name exiting, it might send a wrong signal. So I try to always tick when I'm put, but I can choose to archive, or even if I don't archive, I clear them periodically. I don't read everything, you see. And social media can be part of that. Generally, the Facebook, whatever, the Twitter, you can end up being part of the junk, part of the dumping side. People just dump you. Yeah. So we've got to evaluate what we take in, including the news. Now, going back to your question, the essence behind this book was, if I had to leave a blueprint for somebody who has a dream, and I was picturing this boy like me, somebody, or this girl like me, who lacked school fee, lacked things that would enable them, lacked the big uncle that would pay for them school fees or link them to whoever. Do you have a chance? That was the question I wanted to answer. And I remember saying in one of the sessions that, you see, when I talk about purpose, that I realized that my purpose was to look for what makes other people succeed and share it. And this one I identified when I was in class 8. I was in class 8. I was with people who had repeated like 3 times, and every time they were told by the parents, you know, there is still no school fees. You can repeat, maybe next time we will get school fees and take you to school. And then a lot of others were dropping out of school, and I came up with a statement that Kenya is losing a lot of brilliant brains due to fees problem. And then I looked around, and we were people who didn't have anything. We borrowed almost everything. And one of our neighbors, who happened to be a mother of a very senior justice in this country, he later died, but the lady is still there. They were married. There were 2 justices in the same family. This lady, their mother, was seemingly well-to-do, because courtesy of the son. And she at one point asked me, when I went to borrow something, do you think I'm a shop? And I kept wondering, what would make some people have and some people don't have? Some people are trotting in abject poverty. Others seem to be having plenty. And that question, together with my inquisitiveness, I'm always trying to answer how things work, made me to look for the answers that I may be able to share them, so that people like me can also have a chance. And the moment I got that put together, it was to follow and to be complete. And that's why this section was going to be very critical. I was evaluating my life and evaluating the lives I've seen around, and the books and the stories that I've had, the books that I've read. And I came to that conclusion that it's important to put together this element of help. Enough people, sometimes when you are agitated, you are annoyed, you've been disappointed, you tend to rebel everything that comes your way, because you hold everything with suspicion. Even what nature, what the universe, what God puts on your path to be able to assist you. You see, sometimes we avoid a bridge. Yeah, we want to go all around because we don't trust that bridge. No, we need to learn to listen to our hearts and to take up the help, the various opportunities of help that we get along the way. And we will be able to live our dreams. Yeah. So that's what I may be able to say for now. And there are lots of stories that can support the same. I see we are good in time.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Liz, I think if I am a baggage to someone, if I am the one dragging people behind, I personally feel it is okay for them to let me go, because I don't want to hold someone hostage of the dreams that they have in their life, of what they feel they should be doing in their life. So if I'm a baggage to someone, it's okay to let for them to let me go, because that is it. It is what it is. We have to progress in life, guys. We have to progress in life. So thank you, guys. Thank you for today's
Maybe I
session.
can comment a little bit about that baggage issue.
Mhm.
And you're right. But if you flip the coin on the other side, these people who you may call a baggage in your life for along the way, for me, how I look at it, I look at them as, yes, they are a baggage, and rightly so. However, these are the people who I use as an experiment of perfecting what I want to achieve. For example, somebody may come and they are always kind of sponging and wanting and wanting. It is in giving that we receive. First of all, you may feel like they're draining you. However, you're not your own energy giver. God will always try and give you to give. He will always supply you with more, because this person has been sent to you by God for a learning point from you. So the more you receive, the more you keep giving this person, that is, you have to, of course, look at the probability, the balance of probabilities, and make time to give them the attention of what they want. Look at them like a student you're trying to teach. And the more you teach this person, the more they learn from you, the more it builds your self-confidence, the more it builds your self-esteem, the more you perfect your skill, the more you learn more, because you will think, oh, this person is asking this time. So you get to research that information that they always want. And in that researching, you may discover and learn a lot more, which will help you in whatever you're trying to do. So sometimes we may look at these people as baggages and things like that. But if they're asking something which is productive, which they want to thrive in, I'm not talking about and all these things that are not going to help. Look at them like yourself perfecting your skill for the next level. God expects us in a way to be able to be a person's example, role model, and all these kind of things. So the more you give, the more you receive. The more you give, the more you receive. And it's in all this giving to these people who are baggage, because they need somebody. Nowadays, there's a new terminology that they use. It's called hand holding. You know, it's hand holding. You hold these people, you bring them up. You never know who God will bring into your life to hold your hand to go up the next level. Maybe that is my opinion for these people you're referring to as the baggage.
Okay, guys, time is not on our side, and I
I
see Sarah has raised her
something
hand,
to contribute to.
her hand up.
I have
But
something to contribute.
well, Christine, I feel what you have said is what I say, that there's a difference when someone looks at you as their mentor, and there's another difference if someone is a baggage to you. Those are two different things. I'm not saying about this person whom you're trying to pull up, whom you're trying to mentor, whom you're working with, who asks you questions. That is not the person that I am saying, guys.
Thank you so much even for this opportunity, because I came in late. I had a very early morning meeting and I had to take a nap in between. Mine is very short, and please feel free to call me Sarah Exports. That's what people call me. Yeah. So mine is just to add on to what Christine said. Actually, just appreciate what she said. This one about, she's explained much about the garbage thing, but the context in which she talked that God will always give us to give. She actually brought my whole life in my last job, where I had worked for 8 years and gathered all the export knowledge I have and everything else in that bag. It's a lot in that bag. And So I'm just actually affirming what she's saying. I'm a real life example in the area of my background in exports. We kept helping people. People would come to the office. And there's a time I even wanted to tell the CEO, please just take me. The public would feel they can easily come and talk to us compared to any other government institution. Yet their questions or whatever needs they had were not spot on matters export, maybe currencies abroad and things like that.
We can just
Well,
maybe network error. You know, network
okay,
is a bit
guys.
problem.
So I'll have to close.